All right, so you finished the first video. Then there was the video, what is arbitration, where this cat's talking about, arbitration and what that is and what it's like to be an arbitrator. All right, I'm hoping you watch both of those, and now we're going to jump into the second part of the lecture. Looks like I'm going to probably stop before any video plays, and then I'll just link the video directly to Moodle. I think that'll work better, make the video a little clearer. So let's jump in, okay, and see what we got here. All right, so if all of that arbitration work didn't happen, right, then the next step is going to be litigation. And so litigation, this is the formal lawsuit in court. You're talking massive expenses, frustrating delays. This is just not the way you really want to be moving forward with this. It's an aggravating experience, and there's also your reputation. You could have your reputation damaged in the public's eye. That's definitely not desirable. What if you're an international company and you're working in a foreign country and you bring something to a lawsuit, and what if you're worried you're not going to be treated fairly? Why not, right? That's totally feasible. So there's a lot of things here to think about. The other thing is that loss of confidentiality, right? Everything gets brought out to the public, So clearly there's lots of much better ways in litigation. Certainly not suggesting that you burn anything down, but I'm trying to say that, there are other ways to go about doing that. Arson is not one of them. It was just a silly joke there. All right. Okay, so protection of intellectual property rights. Okay, this is what we're going to talk about next. And this is a hot topic, right? Everyone knows the golden arches, right? We all know McDonald's. Right? I mean, McDonald's so well that if you are driving down the highway, you can see those golden arches, miles away, and you know where to get some chicken nuggets, right? You know where to go for that to happen. Clearly, this logo is well defined. We know who it belongs to. So in 1971, McDonald's comes into Japan as a new hamburger chain, and you've got to wonder, okay, well, what are the patent laws in Japan, right? Am I going to be able to hold on to my trademark, my golden arches? You'd certainly think so, because from common law, we would say it's by use, and everyone knows that McDonald's uses the golden arches. But what's the legal system in Japan? Does anyone remember, right? Well, it's code law, right? And so here's what literally happened, right? The McDonald's lawyers go into the National Patent Office to apply for the trademark, and they discovered that the day before, a Japanese food distributor actually went in and they claimed the golden arches as theirs, and it's a vending machine company, and under Japanese trademark law, the food distributor Maruchan Foods Company was the owner of the golden arches, and they were dealing with 10 years of litigation in Japan trying to get that symbol back. I mean, it's wild, right? So again, what's the legal system in Japan? Code law. And what is code law's system for intellectual property? Registration, not by use. Common law, that's us. We look at it by use. Code law, registration. Luckily, things worked out for McDonald's. You can go there and you get your burger and everything. All right. Now, this is a really fun video about just showing you something in Japan, like how McDonald's is advertised there. It's kind of kooky. It's kind of fun. I'm not going to stop this video to show this video, but I will link it in the Moodle course. Another big concern, right? Piracy. People stealing your stuff. Clearly, something like this is of concern. You've got this Rolex watch for $10,000 versus a Rolex watch for $600, right? And you have to wonder, how common is it to buy a pirated Rolex? I'd say pretty common. And let's zoom in on this one. So see, that zoom in would be this right here. So these are top 20 software licenses by country misuse, right? And this is from February 2021, so really, really recent. I don't understand why they use the color green, though, because green to me seems like it's positive, no bad news, but actually it's just the 20 worst one is Morocco, right? And that one's certainly green. So we can see here different levels of need, or I guess need, that's not the right word, levels of piracy, right, for software licenses. And I asked some students in my class, and yeah, certainly some students agreed that yeah, they gotten pirated software. China is clearly the big red, the redwood, right, on the map, and we have to wonder how they're going to deal with that, right? What do they end up doing? All right, so let's jump back in and we'll keep going here. So this is a great video, and I'm definitely going to put this up as well. I really want you to watch this. Bill Gates is such a creative thinker, I think, and his approach to dealing with China and the level of pirated software in China is quite unique, quite fresh. So definitely watch this video in the Moodle. And it turned out well for Microsoft because they ended up partnering with Lenovo. And I'll just go ahead and tell you what happened in the video. Basically, he said that if piracy is such a big deal in China, that if they're going to be stealing anyone's software, he wants it to be theirs. He wants them to steal it. And so basically, you get them addicted to the software. And once they were addicted, then he partnered with Lenovo, a Chinese computer company, and guess whose software gets put on Lenovo? So pretty nice. Worked out really well for him. He was very clever. Right? Well played, Microsoft. So what about when pirating or counterfeiting is dangerous, right? And what I mean by that is in this video, we couldn't link into the video, so I did the link, but we did play it in class. It's basically talking about counterfeiting drugs. Counterfeited drugs, big deal. And I'll tell you a little bit about the video. So in counterfeited drugs video, they were talking about how they use things like cement, boric acid, all of these different things, drywall powder, to make this stuff the right color, the right consistency, and then they'll even use floor wax to give it a sheen. And counterfeit drugs are a huge deal. So if you're getting drugs online, you really want to figure out how to get it properly. I thought this was a really wise thing to show everyone, just to let you see just how disgusting the counterfeit drug industry is, and also how to find it elsewhere. Now, the thing is that some countries are very involved in the counterfeit drug industry, so definitely something that I thought we need to look at for this class. All right. So here's an interesting table where most fake goods originate. We can see that there's some similarities in the previous map that we looked at. Right. This data is from 2016. So this is where the seizures of those counterfeited and pirated goods. Now, the New Balance story is really interesting in China. Basically, you have what are called these Parasite companies. Basically, a supplier was supplying goods to New Balance to make their shoes. Meanwhile, creating their own brand and selling identical New Balance shoes, following the recipe, basically. Some reverse engineering, you figure out how to make it, and you put out the same shoes. And they were selling them for $20, right? So definitely that was a big deal. Definitely didn't make a lot of people in New Balance happy, but was eventually won. So in review, companies can be these victims of foreign counterfeiting or piracy. And what's wild is that when that's happening, or when your brand is up and being taken by local business can actually be in the right, depending on that code law, that ownership by registration. And we do need a solution. We need something to work around that. Now, this is a video here that's talking about WIPO. This is an organization by the UN that's talking about how to organize intellectual property through a network of countries through the UN. We also have the TRIPS, which is the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. That's out of the World Trade Organization. And if you're a World Trade Organization member, you have to comply. So basically, members are just stuck with the World Trade Organization settlement procedures on this. So that one has a little bit of teeth to it. So, all right, let's take a minute here, right? Let's kind of digest, right? So I want you to go back to Hofstede. We've talked about the different things that Hofstede looked at. We've talked about a power distance. We talked about individualistic versus collective. We talked about a number of these things and how that might affect a different culture. I want you to think, how would one of Hofstede's ideas here, how might they affect the different ideas on intellectual property? Okay, give that some thought. Pause the video if you're willing to really dive in and look at that. A bit of a summary, right? Is that USA is interested in protecting the individual, the creator, right? Sounds like individualism, doesn't it, right? Whereas, say, Korea and Japan, collective countries, release the product for the betterment of the whole. So we do see very different ideas about intellectual property from these countries, and Hofstede was right on the money when he was talking about that, right? Another strategy that was really interesting is the way Warner Brothers approached China when it comes to DVDs, and they just said, what will the market bear? What will the market pay? And the amount they came up with is China will pay $1.30 to $1.60 for a DVD. Just days after the theatrical release, right? And that's wild, because we pay so much more here in the U.S., but China just was going to continue pirating unless this happened, and Warner Brothers basically decided that this was a better way forward. And Fox started doing the same, but Fox is charging more money, right? So take all that, right? Let's digest this. And actually, I think I'll stop the video now because I have several videos to post. So I'll put up the links in the Moodle of the videos that we skipped. So take that, think about that, and then I will tell you the next section of the lecture is going to be about the internet. What laws apply to it? What legal system applies to something that has no national border, that has no political border? And you have legal systems around the world that we've talked about: common law, code law, Sharia law, the commercial laws of the Marxist socialist nations. Take all that in consideration and think, how do you handle something that's called the World Wide Web? Hey, cheers, y'all.